I talked to my parents. I was like, let me take a gap year. I had to put on a very, very good fight for it. They were like, no, all your three other siblings went to college. You have to go to college. What will people say? The general stereotypes. They also were like, cooking can be like your backup. I was like, one way or the other, even if I'm on the street but I'm cooking, that is the life I want. I felt that strongly about food.
आज के एपिसोड में हम बात कर रहे हैं मुराद गिलानी से ये जानने के लिए कि कैसे उन्होंने खाने के साथ अपनी एसोसिएशन को अपने सक्सेसफुल प्रोफेशनल वेंचर में बदल दिया जो कि लाहौर में डिज़ाटो के नाम से मशहूर है।
I treated food so much as my security that when I would sleep at night and if my bedside table would be filled with food, I would feel super secure and comforted that, when the next day I'll wake up, this is something that's going to be there for me. And that comes from the fact that I was bullied a lot for being overweight and stuff. I just had a tough time growing up.
This is the first half of our conversation. Welcome to another episode of Out of the Box. अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीवन, वेलकम टू अनदर एपिसोड ऑफ आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स। आज के एपिसोड में जो हमारे गेस्ट हैं, ही इज़ अ शेफ़, ही इज़ ऑल्सो समवन हु इज़ obsessed with clothes. That is his tagline basically. And if you are a true Lahori और आपने डिज़ाटो का नाम नहीं सुना, it's highly unlikely, but and if you've not heard his name or someone mentions Dezato, you're like, oh yes, the Dezato guy. So I think that's the connection you can make here. So we have Murrad Gillani with us. Thank you so much for being here. Hi.
Thank you for having me and for saying all of that amazing stuff. I feel honored to be here and to be known by the people of the city.
Great. Let's just jump right into it because when I first came through your profile, वो ये था कि explore page पे एक video आई थी and it was your transformation video and मैं उधर ही I just stopped there right in my tracks and I watched it और मैंने notice किया कि आपने किस तरह अपना जो your connection with food, with creating recipes और फिर उसके बाद यू टर्न इट इनटू अ ड्रीम कम ट्रू मोमेंट फॉर योरसेल्फ बिकॉज आपने बहुत ब्यूटिफुली कनेक्ट किया अपनी पर्सनल लाइफ जर्नी को विद व्हाट यू डू इन योर प्रोफेशनल स्पेस। सो थोड़ा सा उस वीडियो के बारे में हमें बताएं जस्ट बिकॉज आई नो आई वांट एवरीवन टू नो अबाउट इट एंड हाउ यू फाउंड योर क्राफ्ट योर ट्रू कॉलिंग।
Okay, so first I will answer the second bit, how I found my true calling. I think I really always just felt this natural connection with food. I've been cooking since I was at the age of 10 or 11, I can't even remember. And then at the age of 17, I got my first oven. I pestered Amma enough to get me an oven. And she got me one fine. It was like a small Black & Decker oven. I still have it quite preserved. I don't use it anymore. It's not of any use for me, but for that, it still holds that value for me. So I was, I think, in O levels, and that was the first time I started telling people that I'm really into food. But because before then, I just kept it to myself. It was something just for me. And so this first project I worked on was something very homey vibe. It was called Little Patty's Kitchen. It was I was quite little and overweight, so it was quite a literal term. And so I think, I was 17. And I started my thing, if you're talking commercially, I started making cookies and nobody knew about me. And so this one day, I was where's the world moving? Facebook was dying slowly. Back in those days, it wasn't a thing to run a food business on Instagram or to sell from home. It wasn't a thing at all. So I can safely say I was one of the first people to have started to do that. So I made this cookie, and I still remember I shot it with a very lame camera. And I broke the cookie in the video, and chocolate comes out of it. I don't know how. I didn't have any followers. I had 200-300 followers. Some magazine picked it up and they gave me a full front cover. How is this happening? So like that was the first breakthrough moment. It doesn't really answer how I got into food. I've just like felt secure with food. So I still remember I treated food so much as my security that when I would sleep at night and if my bedside table, bed night stand would be filled with food, I would feel super secure and comforted that, when the next day I'll wake up, this is something that's going to be there for me. I think, and that comes from the fact that I was bullied a lot for being overweight and stuff. I just had a tough time growing up. People have that. It's fine. So like food really became very important, like the center of everything in my life, and that's how I got into it. And the first bit now, about the video.
Video.
So, and I know how hard it is for people to lose it. And I've been through that struggle all my life, being called out names, like, a lot of like random things that we now see that happens. And I feel really bad, by the way, that that happens. And I'm very um, actively trying to tell people, that it's not cool anymore. And people are kind of listening to, which is also pretty nice. So I dieted for almost all my life. I still calorie count because now I'm just stuck in that and it's not fun. So I would lose weight, then I would gain even more back, and that happened like more than 10 times, I think. Losing a bunch of kgs and then gaining the back. I got tired. So this one fine day, I stumbled upon this video on YouTube, which was about intermittent fasting. I was like, okay, this is a new concept. This time, let's try this concept. And it actually kind of worked. And then it started working so much that I was, losing so much weight in a very short amount of time. And so I was like, this time I'm just going to see it through. And also, why I lost the weight primarily wouldn't be because of people. I did not want people's appraisal. I did not want that validation. It was for clothes. I love clothes that much. It's quite sad that they don't make clothes in plus sizes. So I remember I used to be a regular at Dockers. It's a brand, and they wouldn't have my waist size. Now they again don't have my waist size because I'm slimmer than their lowest waist size, which is a weird irony. But anyways, it was a very proud moment for me, and I wanted to kind of share that with people. And I think it was very important that people should know that. I don't know why that bit comes for the validation, I think, but also through that I could help people. So many people lost the weight with the kind of diet I was suggesting that I did that. I'm not a dietitian, but maybe it can help you too. So I wasn't like kind of putting the knowledge down on people. I was like, here, I did this, maybe you can like try it.
Yeah, I remember you posted that video, intermittent fasting related. I remember that. About your craft, of course, I've noticed कि young boys, especially हमारी पाकिस्तानी society में मैंने notice किया है कि बहुत pressure होता है कि okay, get into a prominent university, you graduate, you find a stable job, और फिर आप ताकि आप confidently, एक social या professional space में you can confidently walk, because that's the association Pakistani boys have growing up. You took a whole different route. ठीक है, I as much as I hate saying it, बहुत unconventional. हम like normally consider किया जाएगा. Like I want you to share this route you took, and I also like your personal journey, and also the fact that were you not scared at any point in your life कि ये वाला route मैं अगर लूँगा तो it might not work in my favor, तो मैं क्या करूँगा फिर?
Yeah. Okay. So definitely unconventional. And I'll tell you how I was able to take this route. So I finished my A levels. I had 35 college admissions, very good universities, but the degrees that I had applied for it was either politics, international, coupled with international relations, or it was psychology. And when I was about to go, I had also applied for my visas. But when I was finally going to go, I asked myself that, will this degree ever be of any use, and the kind of money that is going to be spent on it? And my answer was no. Um, People who know me also know that I don't really resonate with Pakistan at all. It has kind of put me at so many disadvantages. But so basically, I would do anything to exit this country, and that was one exit. But if I weighed in the pros and the cons, it really wasn't making any sense. So I sat my parents down and I was like, it's your money, you're going to spend that money, but it will be to no fruition. So let me do something, because I don't think this is my calling. Because I was very drawn towards politics and psychology, but it still just didn't feel right. And to spend that much money on it was just not, it didn't make sense to me. So I talked to my parents. I was like, let me take a gap year. I had to put on a very, very good fight for it. They were like, no, all your three other siblings went to college. You have to go to college. What will people say? The general stereotypes. I was like, you have three other children who are older than me, who are successful, went to college. Even if I don't, nobody will care because you have three other children. So I kind of tried to persuade them, but they were very offended with this idea. And we kind of agreed to disagree. And we didn't talk for some time. But the time to go to college had passed, so now they were out of options, so they couldn't now force me to go.
Yeah.
I was being very, very date, basically. And so in that 1 year, my idea was to, now that I've taken that stance, now I need to do something about it. So I created an Instagram page, and the idea was never to sell food. Like, I did not have that idea. It came to me later. I'll tell you how. It was just to, like, showcase my food and maybe, find a job at a restaurant. That was my primary goal, to just be placed at some good restaurant in Lahore. So, but after that video and stuff, I was just showcasing my food even before that. So a message comes in against that video, and they're like, can we order these cookies? And I'm like, what do you mean? I was like so shocked. I was like, what do you mean you want to order my cookies? I kind of felt even unsafe because I'm telling you, it wasn't a thing to sell food online. I was like, they're scamming me, or they're like, trying to be sarcastic. So I was like, okay, sure. So, if you're baking something, you make a batch of 12, and with cookies especially. Now they were like, we want two cookies. I was like, मैं बाकी 10 cookies का क्या करूँगा? Will it go to waste? Then what I did was, जो बाकी 10 थी, I would like give it out to people. So मेरे अम्मी के बहुत पैसे खर्च हुए हैं इस पे, and I really thank but just because of this, because so many people had tried my cookies, that is how then I was selling hundreds every day, later in the years. And about your question about never, having a second, a backup, I just, like I told you, I was super secure with food. I was like, one way or the other, even if I'm on the street but I'm cooking, that is the life I want. I was just that, I felt that strongly about food. So yeah, it's true. I never had a plan B.
It's true. I remember like way before Dezato and everything, when you would like जो आपने mention किया this time in your life, I had to like everyone had to be so quick because they would sell out and I would be like, oh, I missed it again, I missed it again. मेरे साथ बहुत दफा ये हुआ, and I was then I had to just like वो notifications on करना. I was like, I need to act swiftly वरना मेरे हाथ से चले जाएंगे. It's like I
I'm
need to
really
try
like
these.
glad. I don't see that happening on Instagram often. Um, it, it's kind of very cool that people want my stuff. It makes me very happy. That is why I like doing it. Like that appraisal, that appreciation of the food that I make is the only thing like that keeps me going.
इट्स वेरी रिवॉर्डिंग, यूर राइट। मैंने ये भी देखा है कि जो हमारे मेजॉरिटी जो है पाकिस्तानी सेटअप में, वी रेज मैन इन अ वे कि हम उनको कहते हैं कि ओ बीइंग इन द किचन ये कोई प्रोफेशन नहीं है जो आप सीरियसली कंसिडर करो बीइंग अ मैन। और आपने वी हैव सीन यू ऑनलाइन और अभी भी up until this point we see you creating recipes from scratch. हर तो कुछ weeks बाद there's something new cooking, right? Quite literally. And so you have pretty much transgressed वो जो एक boundary होती है conventional जिसे मैंने बात की। तो आपको क्या लगता है कि कितना ज़रूरी है that we raise children के they can dream regardless of their gender and they don't have to associate कि हमारे जो professional goals हैं ये हमारे gender के basis पे होने चाहिए।
Yeah. So about the transgression, just because I had transgressed once with my parents, because they also were like, cooking can be like your backup. They actually didn't let me go to cooking school. I wanted to go to Le Cordon Bleu back in those years. They never let me go. Because I transgressed once, and later I was doing so good, and they even came on board with the idea that, this is working out for him. It became very easy. And then this stereotype is true against boys in the kitchen. It's a thing, I know. But surprisingly, I wouldn't say that I have faced it. I've never faced it. I did initially from my own family, but people from outside my household, I've not faced it. But I'm sure other people do, and we really do need to talk about it. And it's a very dangerous stereotype.
Yes, that's true. I'm very glad, like the way you document yourself, and it's very important that people look up to you because I have my younger brother, and both of us follow you. And when I see you, like आप consider नहीं करते कि okay, it's very unconventional that self care वाला जो impact है, you getting manicures and taking care of yourself. I think it's very important.
Yeah.
You feel very secure in your masculinity to the point where you feel like कि क्यों नहीं? Why not?
Yeah,
Why
and
can't
I
I take
think
care of?
people often, especially men, because they really have weird stereotypes, and their weird internalizations, that they often mistake self care and hygiene with something that's completely unnecessary. Like, you need to be clean, as a person, not as a man and a woman. You just need to be clean and just come off as a pleasant person. And you asked me how we shouldn't impose gender norms onto people, and how we should raise our children. At the cost of sounding controversial, I will definitely raise my children very gender neutral. I'm not going to like tell them or impose any gender roles on them. It has done me no good. It has done no good to the people around me. They have only suffered because of it. So I think being gender neutral when you're bringing somebody up is definitely very important.
आई थिंक हम खुद हार्मफुल एक सोसाइटी क्यूरेट कर लेते जब हम मर्दों को कहते हैं कि ओके यू कांट बी दिस वे, यू कांट बी अ सर्टन वे। उनका इंटरनली ये डिज़ायर होगी दैट वी वांट टू हम कुछ प्रैक्टिसेस ऐसे करना चाहते हैं जो आपकी नज़र में फेमिनिन होंगी। या फिर वो रिप्रेशन और फिर वो जब वो निकलता है इट्स सो अगली द वे इट कम्स आउट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ एंगर एंड गॉड नोज वॉट। तो वो बहुत एक हेटफुल सोसाइटी उस तरह क्यूरेट हो जाती है। आई फील लाइक इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट व्हाट यू सेड, दैट्स वेरी ट्रू। When it comes to like I think I can call you self-made, तो ये वाला जो concept है I think it requires a lot of discipline और patience। ये दो चीज़ें I feel like it's very important। हम इस process में ये भी होता है कि we lose hope। काफ़ी दफ़ा ऐसे होता है मतलब even after you've curated a name for yourself, काफ़ी ऐसे incidents you have shared online especially in the recent past where where that must have broken your spirit and you have shared them online। where do you find the strength? आपको कहाँ से hope मिलती है कि okay I need to continue living my dream that us as consumers are blessed with in the name of Dezato?
Firstly, thanks. I think I definitely have been able to go forward consistently because of the people. Dezato definitely, firstly, is a brand. it's very democratic, and it's by its nature too. It's like for the people. It's almost by the people too, even though they didn't build it, they helped me build it. Um, and I think perseverance is very important. And just as a reminder, I even got it inked on me just because it was so important for me. I still think it's the people. You know, when recently Dezato burned down, it was the first time that I cried publicly, and I don't think crying is wrong, but I've just never it never happened before. But I broke down because I was like, this is it. Because even before that, I had so many setbacks, and so the day it burned down, it happened in the most unfortunate way. It happened at like 6 a.m. I was just, I just got out of the kitchen. I was making a Saturday special, which is like I do a new dessert every day, and I use the whole night to make those desserts so they can like grease the branches as freshly as possible. So just stepped out of the kitchen and I get a phone call, and they at 6 a.m. and they're like, Dezato jal gaya. And they say it in a very sarcastic voice. I was like, maybe somebody's prank calling me. And I'm like, okay, so I brush it away. I'm like, sure, let me sleep, please. Then they call me again. They're like, हमने आपका गूगल से नंबर लिया है और आप जजाटो से बात करें. I was like, yes. And they're like, हम मजाक नहीं कर रहे. We were passing on हमें मालूम and Jazato's burning. Without giving a second thought, I sat in the car, drove, reached Dezato in 2 3 minutes. I live close by. And also while I was like on my way to Dezato, I see the fire brigade in front of me. And then I knew that, before even reaching Dezato, that it's done. It's done for, it's gone. And so when I reached, it was the final few flames. It was all ash. Like that was my breaking point. And the very same day, more than 1,000 people reached out just to see how I'm doing, and that's literally what kept me going. And my family has been such a huge support now. Um, it's definitely that was like, these heartfelt conversations. People cried with me on call. People I didn't know. People who I've never met. They have never met me. But they somehow just had this bond with me and the brand. And they were like, we want to help you rebuild. I was like, that's very sweet and kind, but I can't accept it. But like they would go to that level. And I think that's what kept me going.
Wow, I had no idea. I mean, like whatever was happening, like, behind the scenes and everything. You're very right about, like, I think you yourself have curated that relationship with the people online. बहुत ज़रूरी होता है. I mean, yes, of course, मैं ज़रूर credit दूंगी to the consumers, like the people who enjoy it. But मैं उसके साथ साथ ये भी कहूँगी that you yourself have built that relationship with them. You maintain that connectivity with them, and you keep, like, you ensure this idea कि नहीं, we will always have that relationship. Yeah. Despite my business dealings.
I think because it's very important to stay grounded, and I'm very against this celebrity culture and the VIP culture. It's just not cool.
ये हमारी कॉन्वर्सेशन का पहला हिस्सा था. अगर आपको ये एपिसोड पसंद आई है तो अपने थॉट्स कमेंट बॉक्स में ड्रॉप करें और अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर करें. यू कैन ऑल्सो सब्सक्राइब टू आवर चैनल टू नो एवरी टाइम वी अपलोड.